Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Great. Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Alina Frankiv, Head of Sustainability for Uber Freight. Something that Carmen forgot to tell you is that deliver is apparently where you get your face burnt into the tortilla. And yes, I did nibble on it last night because I was kind of hungry. I will leave it here, but I'll try not to forget it. Really excited to be here and for the first time share with you what our vision, mission, and approach to sustainability at the new Uber Freight will be. Had a really great panel, like Carmen mentioned, with Del Monte, Danone, and EbnBev. Great conversation all around with all the shippers, a lot of interest, so I'm really excited to see what we can accomplish in a short and long amount of time and see how we can help them out. But Will, if you could go to the next slide, please. So, starting at high level, so when you come to a company, how do you know what to focus on when you're kicking off a sustainability program? So you do that by running a materiality assessment where you determine which ESG issues are of importance to stakeholders and the business. And so as you can see in the top right corner, climate change came to the top when Uber did one in 2020, which included Uber Freight. You can also see diversity and inclusion in the same square, and Masha will talk more about it after me. And so global climate change is characterized by constantly increasing temperatures that are caused by anthropogenic, meaning human-induced increase in CO2 emissions in our atmosphere that creates greenhouse effect, trapping the heat from the sun. Hence why you're seeing temperatures rising and the concentration of CO2 rising as well. Next slide, please. Majority of Uber's and Uber Freight's emissions are categorized as Scope 3. And so it's important for us to define what these categories mean because we'll be coming to probably all of you and always using these terms. So emissions are categorized into 3 scopes. Scope 1 and 2 are basically all of our emissions that come from the use of our real estate space. And as you can see, it's 1%, it's not a lot. Everything else comes from one category, and there's 15 categories in Scope 3, and that's from use of products and services sold. So for us, it's all the miles that we enable to happen on the platform, and it's all the emissions from the diesel that's being burned. Next slide, please. Freight, so transportation is actually responsible for 28% of US's total GHG emissions. Specifically, medium and heavy-duty trucks are 23% of that pie. So that means that 7% of total US emissions come from trucks. That's a single-digit number that might seem low. However, that is the same amount of emissions that the country of Mexico produces in 2019. That's a lot. And to add salt to the wound, medium and heavy-duty trucks, the emissions from them have increased by 93%, fastest growing vehicle type, from 1990 to 2019. In comparison, as you can see, passenger vehicles increased in the same amount of time by 19%. Next slide, please. What's important to our stakeholders is important to business, and definitely got to see firsthand how important this is to our shippers, but also did a bit of research beforehand and found out that 50% of our top 100 enterprise shippers have committed to reducing their Scope 3 emissions and have also signed up to science-based targets. We did that also this year, where we've submitted our application. So we're all aligned in where we need to go. For our carriers, change is coming. Powertrains are changing. Currently, with diesel powertrain, their top costs are fuel, repair, and maintenance. And those 2 things will be positively impacted when trucks electrify, because that's how we're going to attain decarbonization in the transportation space. Electric trucks, the fuel will be cheaper, and there's way less repairs and maintenance on the technology. And in regards to our stakeholders and our shareholders, it has been shown that higher ESG-rated companies do have access to lower borrowing costs and increased investments. That will allow us to get access to more capital to continue to found the business. And regulators, they're on board. They want to see action happen. The SEC is about to propose a rule that all public companies are to be required to do climate-related disclosures, and we're ready for that. A lot of countries and states are also looking to phase out diesel entirely. So the world transportation is changing. Next slide. And we are there to align with it. Our vision for the sustainability program aligns with that of the company, which is to reimagine the movement of goods to help communities and the planet thrive. And we are on a mission to decarbonize freight by building the industry's leading zero emissions platform. So go ahead, shout it from the rooftops. This is what we're going to be doing. Next slide, please. We are looking to position ourselves as the partner of choice for transportation decarbonization for both shippers and carriers. We're looking to attain that by focusing on 2 areas of opportunity. So driving emissions transparency and accountability, making it easy for our shippers and carriers to gain access to their emissions data, to understand their impact, and have an ability to address it. And David mentioned it, data is king, everyone wants it, everyone wants transparency, and we're here really qualified to provide them with that, with the reporting. And building a zero emissions platform, really want to set up the platform as a platform of choice to deploy low and zero emissions technology. Really focusing on what we're good at first. Efficiency is always going to be required regardless of the powertrain. So network efficiency and optimizing that network is key. And then also focusing on the bridge fuels, which as we're heading into the future to electrification, we can't just like go straight in there. There's products on the market that can reduce your emissions and it can be used today, such as alternative fuels. Next slide, please. And so just diving deeper into what will we be focusing on? So for emissions transparency and accountability, the goal is to have best-in-class emissions reporting. And just a footnote here is that these are high-level goals, and we're currently working on quantifying these goals so they're smart, using the SMART framework, and putting together our public commitment. But internally, looking to have best-in-class emissions reporting, and the way that we'll get that done, so right now really focusing on foundations, getting the Transplace data and the Uber Freight data together, aligned to a industry-recognized framework called GLEC, and that is what everyone is using to report their emissions. Making those reports customer-facing, so really not just raw data, but something that's used for analytics as well. And then eventually integrating it into the platform to increase decision-making insight. For what we're going to do to build that zero emissions platform. So under the pillar of network efficiency, really focusing on network optimization through empty mile reduction and idling, and really tapping into mode shifting. And with Transplace joining the Uber Freight family, our capabilities there have increased by a lot. We can do a lot now. So we really want to focus on utilizing all the capabilities that we have and really optimizing that potential that we have to make the network more efficient. But we want to do it in a measurable way, measuring the network efficiency gains instead of just theorizing about it. And that's where that data will be crucial. For the low and zero emissions transport pillars, the goal there is to reduce the amount of diesel, reduce the diesel trucks that will be on the platform and support adoption of alternative fuel and electric trucks. And really our capabilities there are strong, and we will be building them over time. But we're already seeing this where shippers and fleets are coming to us where they're purchasing electric trucks, but operating a fleet of electric trucks is not the same as operating a fleet of diesel trucks. So they're coming to us with questions. We truthfully don't really have answers yet, but that's the whole point of this, is that we would like to understand what those answers are, so we set ourselves up to be able to support them with consultation, implementation, and operationalization of these new fleets. And really we can do that through all the deep partnerships that we possess with the OEMs, the charging infrastructure, the fueling infrastructure, the financiers, and so on. And really the data that we're sitting on really will help us with policy development as well. And also to mention, there is general business function here that we will be supporting to increase those ESG ratings for us. Reporting and public climate disclosure are key, so we will definitely be focusing on that aspect. And supporting sales and customer success, that's key, right? We want you to feel empowered. You know what's happening, you know what's the latest news with sustainability. You don't have to come to us always. We want you to feel like you have the content. We will develop that for you. And also talking externally and internally about all the great progress that we're making, so supporting marketing and communications. Next slide, please. And wanted you to meet the team. really grateful for the executive support that the team is getting from Lior, Frank, and Laurent. Thank you. That's really how sustainability programs are successful, is when you get top-down support. ELTs, thank you. Every single function is important to the success, and you're all on board. Appreciate it. And Lior, Frank, and Laurent will also be our conduit into the board. They'll be kept up to date on what our progress with the program is. I will continue to head the program, and I am really grateful to Chinmay, who, up until I joined the company, really set up what we currently have, which is a lot. A lot of you feel empowered with the content and information because of him, so thank you, Chinmay. He will continue to support the program going forward. And we're actually in the process of looking for an internal candidate, half of their time, to dedicate officially to our program, to set up and continuously manage our data program, so a data analyst. So if you're interested, Slack me internally or send me an email. And we really couldn't push any of this forward without our cross-functional sustainability group. You can see all the individuals here who have continuously contributed in addition to their day-to-day, and I'm really thankful to all of you. And we're looking for more participants, actually, specifically from the Transplay side, as well, as we haven't had a chance to engage you. So this is my, my call to action here to engage you. Please reach out. If you get access to this deck after the meeting, you'll be able to sign up using the link, or you can join our Slack group, which is Uber Freight Sustainability. Really looking forward to all that we're about to do. It's going to be a lot, and it's going to be a lot of hard work, but I think we're really well set up to get it done.